Yeah, I don't think adoption is ever a beautiful thing or a blessing. Yeah, there's always, like, for me, it's always, I don't even want to say regret. I want to say every time I think about any pregnancy that I had, right? I think about the relationship I had with the person I'm pregnant by. And what happened to make me call, what caused that person to ask me to get an abortion, or what was really going on in our relationship that made us have to do that. Just when I think about being a single mother, I be thinking, what happened for this to be that way? And it's never something I did. I wish that it was something I did wrong that made it have to be that way. It was always something somebody else did. And I'm big on like taking responsibility and accountability for shit I do. I am like 100 with that shit. I say what I think. I mean what I say. If I do something that people don't like, I stand 10 toes in that shit. I don't care. I did it, and this is why I did it, and boop, ba, ba. Even in all of my relationships, when I think about all of the relationships I had, and we have a child, or I had an abortion or something like that, I'd be like, I wish there was something that I did that was so messed up that made the outcome be the way that it is. Because then I would have something to take accountability for real. Like I could be like, this was my fault. I did it. Let me just do. But with like those abortions, I keep thinking about like the first time I had one. The father was a football star in high school, and he was going to Gonzaga High School in DC, and he wanted to go to the NFL. So he really didn't think that having a baby would help him get to the NFL. My mother didn't want me to have a baby either because he felt like the way that he felt. And my mother and his parents sat and talked about it. So that happened that way. I ended up talking to him later on in life, and he like apologized to me. So it was pretty dope. He did it. He was really like, I should have just went ahead and had it. Like I should have just went ahead and did it. So he felt bad. So I'm granted, if you guys know our situation, because like if you went to high school with us, if you know who I'm talking about, he did come back later and apologize. Like he really felt bad about that shit. So that was like my first abortion. My second one, he used to beat me, and he ended up getting deported to Jamaica because of things that he was doing with drugs and stuff. And I kept trying to explain to him, the reason why I'm having an abortion is because, number one, you physically beat me. Number two, you're a dope dealer. I don't think a child should be raised in that type of environment. I don't think a child deserves to be raised where their mom is getting beaten and their dad is a dope dealer. And he was like mad at me. I think still to this day, he's like pissed because I had an abortion. I think the last time I talked to him, he was still mad at me. And this had been like 3 or 4 years ago. He was still mad. So yeah. Then I had another one for my ex, he's a celebrity, and he had his career going, and I didn't want to ruin his career because me and him was together on and off for so many years. Like he was like my first, like before I got pregnant the first time, the guy that I'm telling you that I had the abortion when I got later in my 20s, he was my first boyfriend. So me and him was like on and off for such a long time. We was on and off for like 10 years, 10 or maybe 12 years on and off. And during our off time is when I got pregnant the first time. And then our off time again is when I got pregnant with my daughter. And then our off time again is when I got pregnant by the the dope dealer. And then my fourth time is when I had the abortion for him. And that was the last time I had one. And I was like, now I miscarried a lot after that. My body, you know what it is? When you tell your body you don't want some shit, and you turn around and try to tell it you want some shit, it's like, no, I'm just going to do it for you. So it started eliminating pregnancies for me. That's why I was so shocked when I had my son at like 38, because I had tried to get pregnant between then and, between the last abortion that I had and when I got pregnant with my son. Because I could have had my son with a man who genuinely loved me and wanted to be with me. You know what I mean? And I try in better relationships with better men who were more educated and had, money and things like that. And I could have had a better family with, but it wasn't working out. I feel for you. I hope you can find someone to be there for. I don't hide my location. People know where I am. What are you talking about? People know I live in the Bay Area. Just listen. It doesn't matter. It's unsafe for anybody to know anybody's location because we're like strangers. You're not supposed to know everybody's location. You sick fucko. That's number one. Number two, expressing your opinion and signing your name to it is very different from you sharing your location. Creep. Like, what the fuck? The fact that you even thinking that way is weird. That's dope. I wish every kid could get the opportunity, because for most kids, right? Most kids are not, when they get into the foster care system, they don't find a parent. Like, they're just tossed around foster care until they get old. Like, a lot of those people that you see are homeless and on the street. Like, all the homeless people that you sit and make fun of because they're not taking a shower or they don't have food, they don't have whatever. A lot of them was foster care kids. A lot of them were people who had mental health issues and they didn't have mental health care. Yeah, pretty much. He went to Gonzaga High School. He wanted to go to the NFL. He didn't go to the NFL, if that's what you mean. He's not a football. He didn't go to the NFL. He felt like when we were kids and he was working on his football career, that him having a kid would slow down his opportunity to become be in the NFL. He never made it to the NFL, if that's what you mean. The drug dealer guy, he ended up getting deported to Jamaica, and I think he's doing fine in Jamaica, but he was in jail for a little while and then he got deported. And then my first love, he's, successful and stuff. He married, he got like 5 kids. He's still living in Atlanta. So, I always been like, one thing about me that I can't say is that usually when I'm dating someone, they're not really that bad of a person. That's why after we break up, I can still talk to them and they can usually still talk to me. And I said that yesterday. I don't have this long list of men that I hate, that I was in like these long-term relationships and we can't talk to each other. I don't have that. Like, I don't any of my exes could easily call me. Now, are there guys that I didn't go that far with? Like, maybe we didn't have sex, or maybe we didn't make it past the first or second date. I got a lot of that. Men are naturally attracted to me. Okay. Men love being around me. They love spending time with me. They love talking to me. I'm easy to deal with. And I said this before, they love being around me. So getting a date or getting men to take me places and stuff like that was never hard for me. I've always been, men have always been like comfortable with doing that. They've always wanted to do that. That's why I don't understand nowadays why women have such a difficult time finding men who want to take them out and go to the movies and go out to dinner and things like that. I've never had that issue. Men have always felt comfortable with that part. But there are guys that we couldn't even make it past the second date because I didn't like their attitude, or we wasn't compatible, or they didn't like me, or something like that, Could have been anything. But there's not no guy out there that I hate so much that, other than the obvious. but for the most part, it's few, you know what I mean? I don't think so. I don't feel that. I don't feel that. When I was pregnant with my son and I decided to become celibate, right? I remember talking to God about my situation. And God said, and I say this in a video, God told me, and I feel like sometimes our intuition is God talking to us. Right? The universe talking to us, human instinct, whatever you want to call it. There's this natural thing that we all have as human beings where it feels like there's a higher power or a source of power talking to us, or it's like something is telling us to do something. And it could be just another version of yourself, or I don't know, your full brain working all together and it's telling you something. I don't know. Either way, I call it God or the universe. So my dog just barked for something. So God was saying to me, and this was before I even knew I was going to be celibate, before I even made a decision, but usually I've been celibate majority of my life. So God says to me, this shit is going to take you a long time to get over. And you won't end up in a relationship with anybody until your son is 10 years old. He gave me an age. And he said, you are going to be celibate until your son turned 10. And then you're going to get in a relationship with somebody. And that's all he said. That's all he said. And I was like, okay. Like, now I'm assuming it's because God was saying throughout that time period, there are some things that I'm going to teach you that you need to learn to be able to be prepared for that person. Maybe that's the thing. It put me in a position to where it's like, I'm different in the way that I used to be, to where I wanted to be married, right? I wanted a spiritual marriage, right? It didn't matter to me whether it was legal or not, because with God, that's more important to me than the legal system, right? So I was like, if I could connect with a man through God and we commit to each other and commit that we're going to be life partners, that's really all I want. Yeah, we can have a wedding. Yeah, we can have a ceremony. And yeah, we can sign our legal documentation and make our marriage legally, for the government's sake. But what's more important is the connection we got via God, right? But with time, I've turned into this woman that's like, whether I end up in a relationship or not, I'm okay. Like, if God never sends me anybody, I'll be fine. I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, I can do being by myself. Do I want to be by myself? No. But it takes a lot to impress me. I'm not easy to fall. I don't fall in love easy. When I do fall in love with someone, it takes a lot of me getting to know that person and knowing who they are on the inside to be able to care about them in that way. So if I fall in love with somebody and I get fucked over, I usually take about 2 or 3 years to get over it and just be celibate and then start dating again. With my son, it's different because I guess this time I got a kid with me. So it makes me look at men very differently. It makes me really give them the side eye, because it's like, I have a kid. That means you also have to be prepared to be a role model, a stepfather, or something like that. So you literally got to be a mentor or coach or something like that to be able to raise a boy. If you're not filled with manhood yourself, how can you raise a boy? Then my son's special needs, so it's different. So now I'm just sitting here like, even if God never sends anybody, God is providing for me in ways that I need. Somehow I'm still making it every day. Somehow I'm still becoming the person that I want to be. And I don't know, I feel a lot better than I felt before. Now, am I back to the how happy I was and how free I was before like 2015, 2016? No, I haven't returned to that woman yet. Like I haven't started painting yet again, because I used to paint all the time. I haven't painted in years. I used to paint and dance and hike, and I was just free. I was free. And then bad things happened. I got pregnant with my son. And, sometimes when you interact with the wrong people, something gets taken away from you that you can't get back. And I think for a long time, I was pissed that something was taken from me that I can't get back.
Want full access to my live stream replays? Then become a channel member and don't miss a minute.